Hey guys, welcome back to Talking Tech. I am back with a much thicker set of hair. It hasn't been cut in such a long time thanks to Australian lockdown. Now, before I get into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. And also check out this little motoring channel I run. I've got the marketing for it, just cool car reviews if you're into it. Now, let's get right into it. I have two cool microphones today. Here is the Blue Yeti Original, and this is the Blue Yeti Pro. Now, there's a big price difference with them. In Australia, the original is about $170, and this is about $370. So it's more than double the price. So we're just gonna see if it really is worth the difference. Now, we'll quickly go through the specs and the appearance. Everything is exactly the same in terms of the design. The only difference is that the Pro has this black coating around it, which sort of makes it a bit more rugged, more matte looking, and a bit of a gold finish, as you can see on the metal. Before I get into it, I should mention that I am filming this audio off the stock camera that I'm using without the mics, and then we can compare to when I start using the microphones. So this audio probably won't be the best, and then we'll compare these two as we're going along. On the microphones themselves, they look exactly the same. They're the same size, a similar weight. They both have the mute button on the front, as well as the volume knob that is for your headphone volume. On the Pro, that volume knob actually just never stops. It just keeps going around and around and around. Just a fun little quirk. On the back, they both have the gain for your audio and the different pattern that you want, whether you want bimodal, omnidirectional, stereo, cardioid, and so on. So that is it. On the bottom, they both have a headphone input as well as a USB, and that is where you put your boom arm. And then the Pro actually has the same thing, the USB, the headphone, boom arm, and the XLR, which is the main difference between them, and we'll talk about that a bit later into the video. Now, as for the specs, the Blue Yeti Original has 4 patterns: the omnidirectional, bidirectional, cardioid, and stereo polar pattern. It has a frequency response of 20 to 20 kilohertz, a max SPL of 120 bits, a bit depth of 16 bit, and a sampling rate of up to 48 kilohertz. If we compare that to the Blue Yeti Pro, that has the same 4 patterns: omni, bidirectional, cardioid, and stereo, has a frequency response of 20 to 20 kilohertz and a max SPL of 120 bits, which is all the same. And here's where the difference comes in. It has a bit depth of 24 bit and a sampling rate of up to 192 kilohertz versus the 48 on the original. Now let's get right into the testing. Just to note that all of the mics will be at about 50% gain for the knob on the back, with no post-processing done, so it is consistent. We can see how the mics are in their true form. So let's get straight to it. We are now testing the Blue Yeti Original in the cardioid setting at a reasonable distance. Now I'm just going to spin the mic around so you can see how it operates when you lose audio, when you go around and around. It isn't the best quality right now because it's cardioid, and that wants you to be looking at it straight on, and there it is back to the front. So we now have the Blue Yeti Pro in cardioid mode, and we are going around and around the Blue Yeti Pro to see how it loses some audio in cardioid mode as you are spinning around, and we are back to the start. We are now in the bidirectional setting, which is made if you are doing an interview or a podcast. Sound will go in from this way and this way. So I'm talking into it from this way, and if I spin it, as you can hear, the audio is still just as good coming in from the other side, but not as good if I go on these sides. So there is bidirectional. We are now in bidirectional mode in the Blue Yeti Pro, and if I spin it around, I'm here in bidirectional on the other side of the Blue Yeti Pro. We are now in omnidirectional, which is not like stereo. It's similar, but it goes in pointed directions from each side. So it should be good here. It should also be good here and here. This is if you're doing potentially a podcast with a few more people on it. I am now in omnidirectional mode in the Blue Yeti Pro. So if I was to go here and this way, it would still be good quality because it's targeted in all 4 directions. And finally on this side. And now we are finally in stereo, which basically captures audio from everywhere. Potentially if you've got a lot of instruments, I'm just spinning it around. It is probably one of the best options if there is a lot going on and you want to capture all the noise. So there is stereo of the Blue Yeti Original. And finally in stereo mode, which captures all noises around the Blue Yeti microphone. So if I spin it around in the stereo, it should be pretty good. And I will check in post if it is still good. So there is the Blue Yeti Pro and the 4 polar patterns that it has. I'm now back to Cardioid, but I'm just going to be moving a little bit further back just to see how it works from a distance. I am now about 1 meter away, or 3-4 feet, in Cardioid mode. I am now speaking into the Blue Yeti Pro from about 1 meter away, or 3 or 4 feet, to see how it sounds. I'm now about 2 to 3 meters away, talking into the Blue Yeti Original microphone. I am now talking into the Blue Yeti Pro from about 2 to 3 meters away to see if it can pick up much noise in Cardioid mode as well. So to wrap up, they're both great mics. They can be used for a whole range of things. I use it for a lot of audio recording and podcasts and so on, but it does have a really good application for music. Now, as for the Original versus the Pro, I mean, it is a big price difference and you're going to get just as much use out of the Original. The only benefit with the Pro is it has a much bigger bit depth of 24 bits and a much higher sampling rate, which is basically for serious musos that also want to plug in the XLR. That's one of the benefits of the Pro, is that you can plug it into a mixer with other instruments. But generally, these mics have worked exceptionally well for me. I have nothing to fault them. I mean, even the keyboard noise when you're bashing on it, if you're a gamer or you've got other external noise, you could get a dynamic microphone if you do want to be a bit more targeted and have a little bit better quality. But these do just fine, especially because they are USB mics. They're so convenient and you can just plug them in and ready to go. That's what Blue says. Blue mics, they say you just plug and play, and I've tried it on Macs, on PCs, on multiple different devices, and it's so easy to just plug it in, go, and you're set to go. So there's the Blue Yeti Pro versus the Original. I hope this was useful to you. Hopefully we'll do some more mic reviews because they're fun and they're cool and everyone's using them now. So there it is. Please support us, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Do whatever you can, because we are going to be bringing out a lot more content that's going to be useful, fun, and keeps us going. So support us, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.